we add all other elements. Melissa and me, for example, all that greenery in the wall was an idea to say that he was trying to be hide in the nature.
Welcome to Inside the Set with Set Decor, a series that focuses on the design and decor of the stories that excite us and ignite our imagination, where we discuss the collaboration between set decorators and production designers and hear first-hand accounts of how these works of art came to be, from their inception, ideas on a page, to completion, when we get to sit in the dark and experience them collectively.
Welcome to Inside the Set with Set Decor. I'm Don Diers, SDSA, and today I'm delighted to welcome set decorator Melissa Villegas and production designer Victor Molero to discuss the richly layered collaboration on the stylish and suspenseful video series, The Night Manager, Season 2. Mucho gusto, Melissa and Victor. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Dan. Nice to meet you.
Melissa, I wanted to start with you and ask you how you got into this crazy business, and then segue maybe into how you and Victor got a hold of each other across the globe.
Okay, I'm start from 17 years, so approximately. And I start with assistant art director. And before that, several years after that, I start to set decorator. And before I worked before this project on SEAL team, and Diana Trujillo called me to have an interview, and that's what I try to go inside the night manager and meet with Victor.
And I noticed all three of us have done many jobs in the art department, both set decoration, art direction. Victor, you've done props. And I just wanted to, because I'm a cornball, say I'm glad too that we all can wear many hats. And today we are going to specifically talk about the parts of this show, which is amazing, that take place in Colombia. And I don't know if anyone else cares to explain what this hat is. I can barely pronounce it, but I think it's called a vitro.
That's true, Melissa.
Sombrero
Do you know the
volteado.
hat?
Sombrero vitro.
Volteado. Oh, okay, volteado. I didn't know that kind of hat, but yes, that's a funny thing. You know, I think that's I love SETDEC. Of course, I love the design projects, and when I started in the 90s in Spain, I was very lucky to start from the bottom of the department, and I did everything. And one of the most things that I enjoyed more was SETDEC. That's the reality. But it's true that I have always that ambitious to be a designer. And I always to work, in this case, in this project, it's not only with Melissa, I work with another 3 other SETDEC, because we work in Colombia, in Spain, and in UK, in London. So in London, I used to work with Ursal Kaliokus. That is my normal SETDEC, and she's amazing, very talented as well, Melissa. And in Spain, I work with Alba Bravo and Pera Carreras. That was another SETDEC that I used to work too. And I really enjoy always to, you know, I always need to be really in contact without to micromanaging their work, but really sharing and giving the whole information that they need about the process and about the design. And I really enjoy that part of the job.
Yeah, and I think what it does is it makes you a more valuable production designer, having done, and I looked at your IMDb, and I'm so jealous that you did props on any of the Pedro Almodovar films. But that kind of hands-on work in the art department, which we all are part of, has, I think, colored both of your talents. I think that you have an understanding of a broader understanding than maybe if you had just been, let's say, a set deck buyer or just an assistant art director and worked your way up to becoming production designer, you know? And I think that's valuable. And I say that because some of our viewers are always trying to get into the film business. And so that's why I ask how you start. And then I think next I'd like to find out really the process of getting this second season, which you guys did not do the first season, correct?
No, I didn't do the first season. I did only the second.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
that's the thing.
tackling a show that partly has some history, but also 10 years later has lots of time changed, and we had some characters that are the same, but a lot introducing a lot of new characters, and many of these characters are all over the globe, including Colombia. But if you could speak to that a little bit about attacking the script at the beginning, Victor, and then Melissa will talk about how, again, his mood boards kind of set the road for you to be able to travel on.
Yes, I think, as you said, I think for me, it's very important, the detail. And I think most of the detail are given through props and through set deck. And that's why for me it's so important. Of course, the space, the ambient is the environment is quite relevant and crucial for the project. But I think that the detail are telling many different things. So that's why, for example, you talk about Almodovar. I did. It's true that in the MIMDb is not right, but I did even set deck in Told to Her for the small short film in black and white.
Mhm.
And I did several charts in supervising and in the 3 projects that I did with El Deseo. But I learned a lot on that period. It was a long time ago. But I think the thing that I learned more is about you are controlling the details. And I think that is very valuable for a film because, camera, I think Alexander Trauner, that is an amazing production designer that everyone knows, was saying that a building can be the so important like a bottle or a glass in a movie. It depends where do you put the camera. So that
Yeah.
for me is crucial, and that's why. And I think in this case, executive producer gave us a lot of freedom in the second season because the good thing about the Night Manager, the first one, between both seasons, it spent like 10 years. So that's mean that there was like a completely a change of the character because in 10 years can happen to you many different things. So the producer, for then, it was really clear that we could play with that. And I think for George, the director, and Tim, the DOP, and me, they give us, of course, it was really clear to have the soul of this, the spirit of the show, because, it was really relevant when appeared the first season. But at the same time, they said, we need to create that world 10 years after. And that was really a good challenge, and we took it.
I love that. And so speaking again about your process communicating across the globe, Melissa, he's sharing, I believe at the beginning, probably mood boards with you after you get the job, right? You interview and you get the job. Your initial is it overwhelming? Is it exciting? Is it does your brain start going and you start going, off on different tangents?
Yes, when I talking with Diana, is the art director from Colombia, and I know this amazing series is coming from Colombia. I'm really happy because I saw the last season, and the history is really nice for me, like a suspense series. And when I have my interview and see the mood board for Victor for all the scenes he imagined for that season, I say yes, we have an amazing place to create in Colombia because all the architecture and colors and things with Victor create in the first mood board look really Colombian style. And it's amazing because we are the possibility to create about details from textures and all the art and craft artists and all the stuff. From here, we create a really good look from Colombia for the season.
No, it's really funny because you are, for example, showing one of the main thing and difficulties of the project was that we create that kind of puzzle between different countries because part was done in Colombia in such an amazing location with the help of Melissa and Diana, and we did another big part of the show in Spain. For example, the Barquero office that was at the beginning of the document that you are showing. The interior was in Barcelona. So that's all the interior for this Barquero office is an interior that we built in Barcelona. But for me, it was really, really important to get as a Spanish, and I think Stephen, the production, the executive producer, know me before, and he thought that my experience, being Spanish, would be really a good skill to try to balance between Colombia and Spain, because they wanted to shoot more in Spain than in Colombia. So to be closer to UK. So that's why it was a little bit difficult, but for me it was great that we did first UK, and after UK we went to Colombia. And in Colombia, for me, it was like to have Melissa and Diana, it was amazing because, it was to know, even being Spanish, it was my first time in Colombia. So I didn't want it to be very authentic with the culture and with knowing the texture, the color, what they use, the kind of furniture, the hat, your hat, for example, that you did. And I think that is an amazing journey that you have the privilege to have. And for me, Melissa and Diana was like my guide to understand and learn all that culture, and that was amazing.
Can you think of things, Melissa, that you were, I've done some shows where you end up like, the term is bring sand to the beach, which is, literally bringing things to the place that they might already have, like bringing fruit to a place. Like they have fruit here. I've shipped stuff across the country before, and shipping stuff across the world, it doesn't come tomorrow, and so you guys coordinating that is, that is not Spain. I don't know how far it is from Spain. Victor, it's not 5 minutes.
It's very close to the Sahara, so
Is it?
it's more. Canary Island is a 4 or 5 archipelago. I don't know how you say in English. Sorry, but and is a Canary Island, very well known because the weather is amazing, and it's very close to Africa, but to the south part of the Sahara. So it's quite far. It's like 4 hour, European mentality. 4 hours for us is a lot.
Right.
And it's 4 hour flying from Spain to Canary Island. And yes, and it wasn't only Spain, it was Barcelona. We shoot in Barcelona and we shoot in Canary Island. And in Colombia was exactly the same. We have an office in Bogota. we have in La Estancia. That was an amazing set that we will talk now. And it was in how is the name? Sorry, I forget, Melissa. La
Medellin.
Estancia.
Nilo.
Medellin.
The name
Nilo. And we shoot in Cartagena and we shoot in Medellin. So it was, I spent like 1 year traveling between everywhere. And
I love on travels.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing. But so let's go back to that idea of sharing your culture and then having to, in a way, distill down ideas of understanding an interior, because you're faking it, right? You're shooting in Barcelona, and in a way, as an art department or set deck, you either have like a chip on your shoulder, or a sensitivity that you want to get it right. So what would those things be to bring or send or ask the decorator in Barcelona to make sure to include uh, cultural elements or the kinds of things that you feel are strictly Colombian, Melissa?
Pere Carreras is the other set decorator from Spain, coming to Colombia and stay with me like a month, maybe.
All right.
We are around all the place. We're looking for the furniture, textures, colors, fabrics, and lamps, art and crafts specific from that, hotels and everything stuff we need in Spain for create all the sets from Colombia. It's coming with here or inspire the form for that sets in here.
We sent 3 containers, right, Melissa? It was 3, no?
A lot of stuff from Spain, from Colombia to Spain.
For me, it was very clear because even, I hate when I see sometimes, not always, but sometimes in the shows that you are doing Mexico and Spain, and Spain is completely a different thing. And European, normally we do this, to try to do Mexico and Spain because we speak Spanish. But the culture are completely different. Of course, we have things in common, but I think you need to be really respectful. And that's why I asked to the production. The production kindly said, "Okay, Victor, I sent to Colombia the set deck, one set deck. I brought as well a graphic designer, because when you see, and for example, he was saying all the time, the graphics are completely different to the graphic on the streets are completely different vibe than in Spain. We are in Europe. So I think that kind of detail, that's what I was saying, that kind of detail is what makes the difference. And that's why I think, and I was very touched when Diana told me, or our director, that sometimes you cannot see. Of course, for Colombian people, will be easier to see the difference between Spain but I think not many people can understand what was shot in Spain and what was shot in Colombia, and that's why we do our job, but to try to be invisible in a way.
But also, you're both educating people, and that's the part I respect, is that, if you are strictly trying to, again, send 3 containers of the well-selected pieces, because I know everything's charged by weight, that idea that everybody has in their head is, which we don't want to misrepresent Colombia. And by
That's
doing that, because we don't have a lot of movies in the United States that take place in Colombia, and if they do, they're stupid drug movies or, whatever about Colombia's past. And to have a movie that, one, respects the new Colombia, but also is visually helping us distinguish, because you guys do that. You distinguish. I mean, these kind of shows, which are spy thrillers, sometimes you don't know even what person is. And of course, we can talk about that they, of course, are all 2 different people. Every one of them are all two-faced
Yes,
or
completely.
three-faced. But that trying to understand the culture, at least you nailed it. And what a fun process to be able to share your culture and send 3 containers of stuff to help them.
And for me, it was because, in my 20s in Spain, I was having so many different news about the FARC, about the guerrilla, and all these kind of things. And when I arrived to Colombia, and I saw a completely different country, more modern and much better. Georgie, the director, always told me, I want, Victor, you can design the show to be chic and elegant and fancy, but I want authenticity. And that is what I wanted. When in my first meeting with the producer, I said, I want to be really respectful with Colombia, because I think I want to know how is the country now. And I think it's their way to be, it's part of we need to be honest with that. And that's I found a completely a great country, beautiful country with many artisans and artists that Melissa showed me. And it was great. And that's the good thing that we can do. And that's the privilege that we have in our job.
And again, speaking of the FARC and of course, the past, I'd like you to, Melissa, speak a little bit. I like often talking about contrasting characters, because many times the characters are absolutely different. And we as an audience need to know that visually, because sometimes it's a close-up, right? And we only see a little bit of their house. But so you guys have Teddy's house, which
Yes.
is gorgeous. If anybody hasn't seen this show, you can steal some beautiful design ideas from Victor and Melissa. My God. I want you to speak a little bit, Melissa, because Victor's space, is that a location or did you build that? That's a location.
No, it was location, yeah.
But the artwork, I want to talk, of course, I'm a decorator, so I get obsessed about things. And as you say, the details are important. Can you talk to me about your selection process and how you get there with the artwork? And some of it comes from your experience, but how about the characters? Teddy, who is he? And
It's an amazing trouble to have with Victor, and we walking around all these amazing artists you have in the scenes, and we are with Victor to see everything I think looks for Teddy good for the house.
Mm-hmm.
With Victor have a big idea for this specific person, and the why the look from general look from Teddy's house, and we create dossiers a lot of dossiers for artwork from Colombia, and we select the best pieces for have the best artists from this house, the color textures.
Some of them look evil. Like for some painting that looked very scary.
The big face.
Yes,
The big face.
that
Yes,
was a bold move.
we did it. We painted that because it was a face. The main concept for Teddy's, and I think that's, as you said, we have this idea of the narcos in Colombia. There are really tacky bad guys, and that's what we wanted to fight against, because
Yeah.
it's Teddy is a tortured man that have a really awful childhood, but it's torture. It's not. It's evil because it's torture, but we need to understand him. So what the thing that we did, Melissa and me, is to add to the house some kind of sensibility and art. It was the way that he really valued the art, and that's why he has with the money he buy art. So that was very intentional. For example, this is a painting on the back that is Fortuny. That is a Spanish painter, but it's very really exotic at the beginning of 20th centuries. It's really European, but I felt that was really a good thing to have there. And the big face is, I wanted to use an artist that I really like it, but we couldn't, and we reproduced the style with our graphic designer and or a scenic painter. So working both together, graphic designer David Alba and the scenic painter Lola Avila. And Lola did an amazing work on that because it was, as you said, it was mysterious. And for example, these are artists, a Colombian artist from Bogota that Melissa showed me. That is great. I think it was very, like he's valuable, his culture, the art, and I think we are giving some kind of layer to the character. He's a torture man, but we needed to give him not like the bad guy, the tacky narco guy. That wasn't the idea, and the director and me, we were trying to give more layer to the character, because it's crucial for the story, because he faced Jonathan Pine, the main character, and both find themselves in a way similar, and that's why they are attracted each other. They mirror each other. So I think for me, when you are doing this kind of big mansions or amazing houses, it's more about, it's not a statement of wealth. It's more emotional for me, it's more, the houses need to be, and La Estancia happened the same. For example, I bought this amazing artwork of, it was Vanessa Gomez.
Vanessa Gomez.
Yeah, I bought that amazing art piece because it was beautiful, really, really nice. And we wanted to give some kind of texture and different layer of to be very aesthetic as well, because Jonathan Pine is quite very, they are hiding things all the time, so we didn't want to put too many color, to be very clinical in a way, and that is the way that we were putting together both characters and the way that they couldn't find each other.
I think Teddy is a narco very different for the other narcos in the past. It's very elegant. It's ¿cómo se dice sobrio? Perdón.
Austere.
Here, it's very different for the typical narcos in all the movies, and that's the reason why we looking at specific pieces and very Colombian specific artists for create
Because
that.
it's very cliche. They normally use that cliche, and we didn't want to do that. And Melissa was clearly the way to do it, because she has the knowledge but for us, for the director Georgie and me, it was crucial. Don't go there because it's the easy way to go.
And it makes them even more scary. It makes him and his little group more scary because you think, well, they're not dummies. And like we see what they do on screen, but what do they do when they leave? Like they're scarier because they have more taste and they a little sort of whatever, a high-minded thing. Like the architecture that you gave her there was gorgeous and grand and it shows money, but you
Yeah.
could have easily you put the stupid French furniture in there or gilded garbage. And then we're like, okay, we've seen that before. And I would have turned the TV off. You owe it to the audience to take it to the 2025, 2026. Let's have the conversation be current. And, because that's what, the audiences are smarter than we think and they get it
Yes.
liminally.
Yeah.
And like the round things on the wall, I looked at those and I thought, I know that they're a Colombian artist, but because I didn't know much about the background, they felt a little Versace to me. But then, like the Versace symbol, like, oh, that.
Yes, you're right.
But then you look at them and I'm telling you, there's a lot of scary in this place. I love it.
Yeah, but it was intentional at the same time, but it's true that at the same time you are Teddy is a very interesting character. He's a damaged kid, So we were trying to add layer to his personality, his character. So that's the intention, and I think that is a work that I did with the director and of course with Melissa. Yeah, it's funny because I was really surprised. I've done all the interviews and many people are really interesting about, because I was afraid to be too minimal and the people don't get it. But at the end, as you said, audience is very clever and get that is an intention to create more value to the character.
I think also you were given a great DP who understood how to shoot your sets.
Absolutely.
And oh my
Absolutely.
God, lovingly
Absolutely.
shot your sets.
Yeah, completely. You knew perfectly. You know what? The funny thing, Tim Siddle, that is at the beginning, it was my first time with him, working with him. Georgie knew him. And at the beginning we were like, always designer and DOP trying to, how to work together. But we understood in a moment that we were taking the right decision for each other. And the funny thing after that, we spent many months together. And I in my education, I did fine art in Madrid a long time ago, and he did fine art as well. So I think we have a similar, because one of the values and the skill of Tim is that he play, and in this location in Teddy, he play with the light and the color of the light in a very amazing way that not many DOPs have that skill, because it's difficult to play with color and light, and it's very easy to get wrong in that way. So I think he understood our texture and our color, and he had a completely, he elevated the whole thing, as you said, done very well. He was a great. We were lucky to have him. He's really a cool guy. Yeah,
yes,
completely.
a really, really great teamwork, because it's like completely create a majestic piece for art and light.
Can you talk a little bit, because Victoria, I heard you had some in your mood boards talk about classical paintings. Were there certain classical paintings that did you guys get inspired by, or is that from another interview that I get wrong?
In Teddy House, for example, we use as well, because I think the religion, the Catholic, it was something important part. So I asked to Melissa to add that part. We have some concept where you can see a Virgin or a Christ, and I think that for him, the religion, because he spent all his childhood in this convent in the mountain of Colombia, and that's why we wanted to have that kind. That's why Melissa was talking about that kind of austere Catholic mentality, that everything was really clinical and clean and boring. Like you can see here, the cross and that painting. It's true that I think this picture, we did even the space
Mm.
more clean. I think we removed some furniture. You remember when we shoot at the end, because we wanted to feel that aesthetic vibe that he has, and he felt more comfortable with less things.
Wow. And so there it goes, is part of his history being comfortable with that kind of austere space. And it was not an obvious choice. I like that the monastery and the place, it has a lot of air.
Mm.
It's not maximalist or baroque, or because it could have been. And I like hearing about these decisions you guys make, because you guys are either Zoom calling, I assume, or you did have some
Yeah.
obviously FaceTime. But these kind of greater ideas about design and talking about how your design and your choices communicate the ideas of what you're trying to say. I know this other set, and I don't know how to say it in Spanish, but it was Hugh Laurie's The Gilded Cage. Yes, was that
Is
shot
La
in
Estancia. La Estancia.
the Stanton?
La Estancia.
Tell me about both the what this is and what you made it, I guess, and then maybe a little bit about his background of what that place is supposed to be, La Estancia.
To find this location, it was a work that of many months of the executive producer went through Colombia and even Brazil to trying to find this location, because it was, Hugh Laurie place when he suddenly appeared in the show. So it was really important. So when I arrived, they said, we found something that is interesting, but we want to take you there to see it's for you, is the right place. And when I arrived, I saw the location. It was a little bit run down, quite not very well shaped. But the place is unbelievable. It was amazing. It was perfect. It was in the middle, very isolated, in the middle of, is of course, I don't know if I can say this, Melissa, in the middle of nowhere is Girardot. It's
Dry jungle in Colombia because it's in the middle of the paper
yes.
everywhere.
Yeah, that's Colombia. So, but we thought, okay, it's going to take us a lot of work, but it's really worth it. And the producer said, okay, let's go. It's an amazing location. And that was our bigger job in Colombia, right, Melissa?
Yes, a bigger job. We working a lot for this place because it's the main set we have in the part of Colombian production. And the house when the Victor says is very isolated and a little bit crushed. That we working a lot in paint.
6 weeks, 7 weeks. We spent
7
like 6, 7 weeks
we working
doing.
in that house. Everything in here is changed for the original
Yes, we did
picture.
everything.
Everything is white and empty, and we don't have the doors, the wood doors for everything, and
The
we paint.
color, the paintings.
Yeah, we paint everything in the house.
I love that. I mean, what an opportunity. One, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, as oh, you get this abandoned mansion, but the good news is you get this gorgeous place, but the bad news is it takes 6 weeks to even, like, clean it up.
In a very high temperature. In a very, very high temperature.
Ay, ay, ay. Because you painted this place yellow on purpose, correct?
Yes, we paint the whole, because it was one of the main thing of the concept for this house. Hugh Laurie appeared in the first season in an amazing mansion in Mallorca, in Spain, and that was a house that he chose. The character,
Right.
Robert chose that house and he rent that house. But in this case, he's hiding, so it's like a Airbnb house, mansion, and that's why we wanted to be like, it wasn't his nature place to be. That's why I did these walls with the greenery and the plants, because it was yellow in the way that he's hiding in an isolated place, but the place is not his place. It's not a British gentleman. He will choose that yellow big mansion, very very shallow in a way. It's beautiful and it's very Colombian, but I think we wanted to have that contrast that it was in a that strong, very Colombian yellow, or I don't know. So that's why I think it was a good contrast. But we add all other elements, Melissa and me, trying to, for example, all the natural, all that greenery in the wall was an idea to say that he was trying to be hide in the nature. Or for example, in all the scenes that we have in the deck, in the lake, in front of the house, it was completely destroyed, that part. But when I arrived and with the director, we said, we need to fix this to have scenes here, because it was great to have the house on the background and to see that amazing mansion, you know.
Wow. Again, I art directed movies before, and I, that term of bringing sand to the beach. There's at one point you guys created a jungle in the jungle, and that was probably because things blew up, right? And you had explosions, and but it is funny how in the art department, you are recreating reality in reality.
La Estancia have a lot of details in everywhere you look, and it's in the artwork and the furniture and the lamps, the color of the walls. It's like represent Colombia in a cage for a big person like Arbo, and that's the reason we create everything inside the house. All the furniture we're looking for
The practical.
everywhere house we have in Colombia. We make it the big sofa of the living room, and we're looking and searching for all the lamps around the house to have the perfect lighting for the perfect space. We look at things in Medellin, in Cartagena, in Barichara, in a different place for this house.
Don't forget the Christ.
Oh my God, how could you miss it?
It's very important thing in the living room.
That was really funny because I saw it and I said, it's perfect. It's to have like the Christ and the demon together, the devil
Yeah.
together. And that's why when I told this idea to leave the Christ to the director, she was a little bit insecure about it. Don't you think it's too much? I said, no, it's great. Let's have it. And she says, okay, let's have it. And we have several images that Roper with the Christ. And I think that was really a good element. But it's one of the elements that it was in the house. But true.
We working a lot the clearance for these pieces because it's in the house, but have a very important part of the living room for Rupert, and we working in the clearance for that, and we have a cleared for that, and we are very happy when we put in the middle of the of the living room.
Sometimes when you're doing a house like this, like you mentioned, Victor, that it might be an Airbnb, right? So sometimes you're decorating for a character, Melissa, that's off frame. And there's times in it that I don't know who, I forget her name, is Sopa or the maid, the cook. They call her several times, and I kept thinking, okay, so this house, like she comes with the house, right? And so you
Yeah.
see the kitchen and you see certain things, and then there are moments you see that whatever her name is, I'm going to call her Sopa, is
I forget it.
she ate a little something, or there's a bowl of fruit, or and he didn't do it, so it and even you don't even I don't know in the show if you ever see her, but once in a while you see her walk by, or I thought she was going to have a bigger role, like, turn out to be a spy or something, because everybody's a spy. But she
It was in the script. In the script, she had more lines, but at the end, the editing, it wasn't. So you did it right. You thought right.
yeah, you gave us the feeling of whatever her name was, that she was, the matron of the house, and she's holding it together. Are there other sets that you guys did in Colombia that we should be focusing on?
I think the only as a example, a good example, for example, we see in Cartagena the swimming pool where we have this kind of sexy dance in between the three of them, and I think that is a good example how we were working together. Because I saw the swimming pool, the color of the swimming pool, it was really strong, and Melissa and me, we decided to do this lamp to ask to an artisan this blue lamp in the same color of the pool. And at the same time, the costume designer did that amazing sexy dress for Roxy or a character. And I think the lighting that scene, the DOP work on this scene, is make the whole thing really special and very sexy and very chic. And and it's true that because in that moment you remember that we were almost changing from Colombia to Spain, so we didn't talk too much. You can see, for example, the lamp here, but the look of the whole thing in the show, that is a very important sexy scene. It was working really well. So that's the only thing that I wanted to say. You remember that, Melissa?
Yes, everything in here looks sexy, luxury, and beautiful for the scene because it's a very important scene to all the characters. And we working a lot for create all the pieces are perfect for the moment in the dinner. And I think Tim has a very, very, very amazing work for the light because everything is look great in the scene.
That's nice though, like when you point that out, Victor, that you guys came up with an idea for lighting, which again is so helpful for the DP, but also to pick something that is a real departure, like that color blue in a light fixture. What you guys did with these high-end interiors was give us, again, I keep saying it, but 2025, 2026, 2027, chic, new of the moment kind of touchstones on what elegant and sexy could be. And again, thankfully you have, a budget to be able to do that, but also I'm sure it's all under an amazing sort of schedule of not enough time. But to be able to, in the process of, shopping and everything else, location scouting, whatever, but to be able to talk to the DP, the director, everybody that's involved, say, hey, you know what? We're doing this blue light, or even if you don't tell them and you do it, and then it's a success, you're like, okay, my intuition, which is again what you have to trust, is like, okay, I have this feeling like this pool needs to just have another, and I think that's what our jobs are, is to, trust those intuitions.
Completely. I think intuition is the main part of this job. And I think with your experience, you understand that you need to follow that. That's for me something that I always understood from in my career, at the beginning. I think intuition, if you, after many conversations with the director and the producer, you need to follow the journey of the show, because at the end the production is something that starts to work like a machine and you need to follow it.
Yeah.
We have a lot of space in the streets of Medellin. Really nice to work with Victor because that's the point, we connect Spain with Colombia.
Yes.
In exteriors. I think everything look great in Spain and very similar to Colombia. These places are really nice.
That was exactly the same. We did the exterior in Colombia and the interior was in Spain, in Tenerife, in the islands.
Mm-hmm.
So that's puzzle that we did together. And everyone need to be very connected.
I think that work is amazing because we need to work together to create the exteriors and interiors in the same way for filming. That's the reason why what I mentioned in this point. Because I think it's a great work with Victor and the other set decorators for create that match. Because I think we look the same place. We don't need to know it's a different country, a different place, a different lighting. It's great to look in the scene.
And it's seamless, and that happens by having, I have to say, go back to things that the designer offer us, which is like mood boards, so that everybody in every single country and time zone and how many, whatever way, we're all focusing, okay, that color palette, and why is it that yellow? And oh, that's the golden gilded cage. Or why is it that we need to have the draperies match or the window dressing matches in this location, and then we're going to go shoot it in, the Canary Islands. The rest of this is... I wanted to speak a bit about the restaurant. Did you guys shoot that in Colombia?
Yes.
Yes.
Melissa, I have to compliment you on your the art again there, because I don't know much about Colombia, but when I started to zoom in and look at stuff, I'm like, I'm sure there's a lot in there that you, again, as the decorator, are playing the person who runs the restaurant who's decorating the wall, right? Because you have to, sort of play another character of how would the person who runs this restaurant do it. And I feel like I've never been to Colombia. I learned a little something about Colombia, and just by seeing little bits of that restaurant they go to all the time.
This is a big restaurant. It's a location in the middle of the mountains in Medellin, in the south of Medellin. And all these places are only we have is chairs and tables. Everything, the other thing we put it and dressing
Yeah.
and looking for create that amazing moment in the scene with Jonathan Pena and Rupert. It's talking, and I think it looks great. It's amazing.
It's called Fonda, no? As the restaurant, this kind of bar is called Fonda. That's right.
Yes, it's the place like this in Medellin. Say the name of that is Fonda Antioqueña, and it's because it's very typical and have horses, and it's like look like a cowboys, something like that.
But I love hearing that you mentioned that, because that is, again, in American culture, we have that too, where, that there are different looks to a restaurant, that you might be on a road in the middle of you're between two big cities. And so a small city diner is going to look different than a big city diner kind of thing. And so you nailed the fonda, I think. I love this.
In the script was called Hilltop Restaurant. That is how the writer, or amazing writer,
Wow.
wrote on the script. But it's true that when you arrive to the country, it's not a Hilltop Restaurant. It's called a fonda, and it's completely a different idea. And we wanted to have this kind of background with big mountains from Medellin to understand that bar was close to the isolated place Golden Cage of Roper.
Mhm.
But I think Melissa did an amazing job here, and graphics too, because, for example, it's called that big graphic thing. It was done for our really nice graphic department, and it was called La Loma del Yarumo. That for British speaker was quite difficult to say, but we want to say in a way that it's really Colombian, because the Yarumo is a leaf, Melissa, or it's
A tree. It's a
a
tree.
tree. It's a tree. Yeah. So, and that
A
was
typical tree in Colombia have a lot of species of jarumo.
so that's the way to have this kind of help with about someone that know very well her culture. It was fundamental for me, and that's Melissa and Diana did an amazing job helping me and guiding me to get right.
Do you remember we need to cover a lot of pieces with greenery, and
Yeah,
the
it's
the
true.
big the big signs have we need to cover with graphic designer because it's a big sign for the name of the restaurant, and it's a big job for our department to create
Yeah,
all
and
these.
the place was a little bit not abandoned, but it wasn't so we changed all the greenery because it was good to look like very, in the middle of almost a jungle, the Colombian jungle. So
You have to, every frame, you have to keep selling this. You keep telling us we're in the middle of the jungle, right? You've told us that this, I mean, it's a little implausible that to us, we think, oh, what? There's this restaurant he goes to. But then you see it and you're like, yeah, I can believe, because the driving shots through the forest and all that absolutely helps sell all that. So you have to continue that work, of course. And so sometimes it's Green's work. Yeah.
I think you said something really, really interesting about, and I think it's part of our job as a designer. You said one of my the most important process is at the beginning when I do a very detailed mood board. And when I finished this project after a year traveling in different countries, we did the Pyrenees part when Olivia Colman with his daughter,
Mhm.
her daughter, and I did the small, because we did it after Christmas. We stopped, so I did in a small another set deck that I forget it, or when she did like 2 days, and that was the French cottage in Pyrenees, in the French Pyrenees. And when I show them after 1 year spending doing the show, and I show them the mood board that I did 1 year before, I understood that was so useful, because there was in that image and design that I did, it was in the show. There was, the spirit was there in that mood board. So it's you can understand that it's so useful for everyone to have that tool to show to all the department, in all the countries.
Well, I would love to have worked with you, because it sounds like you were a great leader, and I would feel confident, and I'm sure Melissa did, being able to have a solid, again, I called it a road, but something, a pathway laid out that we now know there are parameters. I need to, because everything is possible other than that, everything, it could be anything, and it doesn't, it's not. And to focus your crew internationally, different time zones, what an effort, and what a beautiful job. And you guys did an amazing work. Victor and Melissa, thank you so much for doing this today. This has been educational and wonderful meeting you. And thank you for doing this for Inside the Set.
It was a joy. So thank you, Dan. Very, very nice conversation.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Inside the Set with Set Decor. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, setdecor.com.